Okay, there we go. Okay, I think we are now live. So, hello, welcome to the stream. Obviously, we'll wait a little bit while a few more people join. Yeah, welcome everyone. Hello. For some, one second. There we go. Okay, so hello, welcome to the stream, the sort of end of February review, or whatever you want to call it. It's been quite a while since we did a stream like this one, so I thought we'd give it a go. Again, we will wait till a few more people have joined before we really get into it. But yeah, it's just going to be basically a little bit of a return to form, you might say. It's been a very long time since we did a non-gaming related stream. Long time since we just did a proper face-to-face chat like this. So I thought it was about time we did it. And hopefully I'm gonna do a few more streams like this in future, because this is how we got started last year. And like I say, it's just been a very long time since we did a stream like this one. So we'll see how it goes. But the plan for today is I'm going to basically talk about what I've been up to, what's been going on, what my plans are for next month, and also obviously do the usual Q&A. So if there's anything you want to ask me, fire away. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of what we're going to do today. So hello, if you are just joining, welcome to the stream. My name is Saul. I am a trans woman, I'm 25, and I am here to be an open book, so ask me anything you so choose. And, okay, let me just... For some reason the chat's not showing properly on my phone. It's been a while since we did a phone stream, so please, bear with me. I need to refamiliarize myself with how it all works. Bodger and Badger says, "Have you had the surgery?" Great question to start with. Thank you, Bodger and Badger. No, I have not, and no, I am not planning to. But thank you for the question. What a nice one to get the ball rolling. If again, any other questions, please feel free. They don't have to be specifically about me being trans. They can be, but you could ask me anything at all. Jack Jones says, "Why are you not planning on it?" That's a fair question, Jack. Sorry, excuse me a second. So why am I not planning on having surgery? Well, it's a pretty valid question. Well, I say that. I think it's a question that's often asked by people who don't necessarily understand. Not trying to say that in a rude way, but I think people often ask this question because there's sort of this assumption that being trans means you have to do X, Y, and Z. You have to follow these specific steps, and it's not the case. It's being trans is not like a strict start and end point that everybody has. It's more, everyone starts in a different place, everyone ends in a different place, everyone has a different sort of goal in mind. I just personally don't feel like it's necessary for me. I am comfortable enough without it. I do want to do hormone therapy. I would like to, take estrogen and do that at some point. But surgery is just not something that I personally consider necessary for me. I'm happy with what I've got. So, thank you for the question, Jack Jones, and hopefully you appreciate the answer. Queetney TC says fit check. Certainly, Queetney. I am wearing a sort of sporty black top and some blue shorts. I first wore this way back, I think in September. I did a stream with this outfit on, and then I started using the selfie that I took in that stream as like the thumbnail for all of my other streams. So if you go to YouTube and look through my previous live streams, they all have me in this outfit as the thumbnail. So yeah, it's a nice outfit. I like it. How was your day? Says MacJam. It was good. It's been a pretty good day. I've been working on a video again. Not just any video, the notorious PC cost video that I was supposed to release in January, and still haven't finished yet. It's getting there. It's very, very nearly done. For anyone who is like a regular viewer of mine, you will know that I have been promising for the last 2 months that I was going to be releasing this video about my PC setup, about all of my, simulator gear and stuff like that, and talking about how much it all costs. And that video is still not yet done, but it is nearing completion. I've done a bit of work on it today. Still a couple of little bits to record, and still quite a lot of editing to do on it. But I'm hoping it'll be coming in the next few days. I was hoping to get it done by the end of the month, but sadly, I don't think that's going to happen. But that's what I've been working on today. Josh on Carrera says M or F. I'm going to assume that you mean male or female. Obviously, I am male, biologically speaking. It says male on my birth certificate. I was assigned male at birth, but I am a trans woman. So thank you for the question, Josh. Oh. I think I've just... hold on a second. Okay. Anyway, yeah, so... I can't really think of anything to say because it's been so long since we did this kind of live stream. I'm so used to playing a game while I'm streaming. It's been a while since we did a non-gaming related stream. I don't really have anything to do on this stream. Normally, I'd have some Lego to build or some kind of thing to unbox or something like that. I don't really have anything like that today, so it is just me talking. But as I say, I would like to talk about what I've got planned for next month. And again, if you want to ask me any questions in the meantime, then please feel free. But I really wanted to do this live stream because it's been so long since I did a stream like this where I could just sit in front of the camera and talk for a bit rather than being distracted playing a video game. So that's really why this happened, and I want to make it a regular thing. I want to, in future, the last day of every month, I want to do a stream like this where we do a Q&A. S-Solar commented an apple. I presume that's a reference to my Adam's apple, which is very clearly visible. Yeah, no further comment on that. It's there. You can see it. Bodger and Badger says, please answer my question. I haven't seen your question, Bodger and Badger, probably because it's been automatically flagged, probably because it was not a question that I would want to answer anyway. If you would like to rephrase the question, please do. Bear in mind that TikTok automatically flags certain comments, and there may be a reason that your comment is being flagged. But again, if you want to try and rephrase it, then I'll try and answer it. It's literally just popped up now. Some comments in this live were filtered to protect the community's experience. What about that? What toilets do you use? Said Bodger and Badger. I use the toilet in my house. And when I'm out in public, I do not use toilets at all. I just don't use public toilets full stop because they're disgusting. So hope that clears that one up for you. AlfieBorn8 says illegal. Would you mind telling me what I'm doing that's illegal, Alfie? Please enlighten me. What have I done that's illegal? You look gorgeous, says Dazzleboy85. Thank you very much, Dazzleboy85. AlfieBorn says, go to America, I dare you. I've never been to America and I never plan to. So Trump is making your people drop like flies. That's exactly why I don't want to. What gender are you into, if I may ask, says Queetney TC. Good question, Queetney. I would consider myself to be pansexual, so I'm attracted to people of all genders. I would say there's definitely a sort of lean towards women, but at the end of the day, I'm anything goes, really. Did you cut it off, says Sewer Rats. No, I didn't, and no, I won't. But thank you, thank you for the gifts, by the way. Okay, there was Bodger and Badger says, I like turtles. Thank you, Bodger and Badger. Okay, we've got a few more people coming in. So hello, everyone, if you just joined in the stream, welcome. I'm Saul. I'm here to answer all your questions. Wiley says truck sim or farm sim. I play both. In fact, I stream both, and I am going to be streaming both next week if you want to join me for those. I'll be streaming Euro Truck Simulator on Tuesday, Farming Simulator on Friday, and I'll also be streaming OMSI, the bus simulator, on Wednesday, and Train Simulator on Saturday. So a lot of simulator streaming coming up next week. And of course, I do have a wheel and various other bits and pieces that I use for my driving games. But yeah, I enjoy Euro Truck and Farming Sim equally. They're both my sort of game, both my cup of tea. What's your favourite football team, says SWFC. I don't have a favourite football team because I'm not really into football. My dad's favourite team is Newcastle, and I guess this top is kind of Newcastle coloured, but I'm not really into football myself. P says, Musk has a plan for you. I couldn't give less of a fuck about Musk or his plans for anything. He has nothing to do with this country and hopefully never will. AlfieBorn8 says that's a girl's top, by the way. I should hope so. I bought it from the girls section of Pretty Little Thing, along with my shorts, which I'm also wearing. These are girls' shorts too, in case you were concerned about that. Okay, Bodger and Badger is just asking the same question over and over again, starting to sound a bit like a broken record, so we'll just leave it at that. Okay, thanks for sharing the live, Danny. I appreciate that. Thanks for following, Mr. Quagmire. Very kind of you. Eric Stadnicki, sorry, says, why did you decide to change? Good question, Eric. I actually have a video about this exact topic. I have a video talking about, how I sort of realised that I was transgender. It was about 4 years ago. I've been out for nearly 4 years now. There was always a sort of I always had this sort of feeling that I was not very comfortable with being a man, a boy, and I sort of explored a little bit more. I started to sort of think to myself, maybe would I be happier if I transitioned? Would I be happier if I lived as a woman? And I explored it, and the answer was yes. And then here we are now. OxW1 says, very feminine stubble, to be fair. I don't have any stubble, but, thank you very much anyway. Do you have a mullet by any chance, says Jake? No. Can we see Luna, says Danny. You can see Luna, yes. Should I bring her over here, or should I take you over there? I think I'll take you over there because I don't want to disturb her too much. But let's go see Luna. Okay, see where she is. She's in the back corner right now. Let me just close this curtain. Turn this round. There she is. So for those of you who don't know, this is my pet jumping spider, Luna. She is... I don't know if she's going to come out. But she is up there. There we go. Unfortunately, she's not very active today. It's quite a hot day, so she's just sort of chilling, taking in the sun. But there she is. Hopefully, she might come out a little bit later. I don't know how long I'm going to be streaming for, but if she does move, if she comes out at all, then I'll take you over there to show you. But she's just taking it easy today. So how old is it, says Jake? I've had her for about 9 months. She was already fully grown when I got her, so she won't grow any bigger. She won't molt or anything like that. I don't know exactly how old she is, but like I say, I've had her for about 9 months. I'd estimate she's maybe around 11 months, maybe a year. PK says, you're not wait, so PK says you're not 25. PK also says you're not 35. You're not 2,555 or 60. Well, I am one of those, PK. I am, in fact, 25. No more funding for you, says P. Funding for what? What's being funded or not funded? Did you grow your hair out, says Kazuki. Yes, I did, Kazuki. This is my real natural hair that I've been growing for about 4 years. P says, there goes our tax money. Once again, P, what tax money on what? What am I spending your tax money on? What are you talking about? PK, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Thank you very much for joining us today. But yes, going back to the question, yes, this is my natural hair. I've been growing it for about 4 years now. I last had it cut Christmas 2020. So about 4 years and a couple of months I've been growing it, and it's down to well, it's down to there. I'm very, very happy with my hair. Very, very proud of it. Do you straighten it? Says Erin. I don't straighten it. No, I don't really do anything with it, to be honest. I just give it a wash every few days with Head and Shoulders, and there it is. That's it. No straightening, no curling, no anything like that. I just leave it like it is. It's completely natural. That's just how it is. And like I say, I'm very, very happy with it. Bring the front wheel up says you didn't answer my question. I didn't see your question. Bring the front wheel up. Lots of people have questions, and if you ask a question and I don't see it straight away, then just ask it again. Giants Editor 1029 says, "What's your occupation?" And it's such an important question that he asked it 3 times. I'm going to let you guess my occupation. How does it grow like that since you transferred, says Kazuki. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Kazuki. How does it grow like that since you transferred? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that one. You don't win a war with these people, says P. What are you talking about, P? You've like, so far, your last 5 comments have just been, like, absolutely meaningless drivel. Like, can you give me a straight question, please? Nemo says, "You okay, bloke?" Shoulder shrug. Get it all out. If you want to call me a bloke, call me a man, point out the fact that I've got an Adam's apple. Go ahead. You wouldn't be the first, and you won't be the last. So by all means, give me as much verbal abuse as you like. Really doesn't bother me. Can I give you a bent question? Says Shep Boy. Yes, by all means. Nemo says, "Convincing no one." What do you think I'm trying to convince you of, Nemo? I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything. I don't dress like this to convince you that I'm a woman. I am a woman, and whether you are convinced of that or not is completely irrelevant to me. Transfem says, "Jack C, yes, indeed." Kizza P says, "What are you going to do when you start balding?" I'm not going to do anything because there is no history of baldness in my family. My dad's in his 50s and he has hair down to here. My granddad had a full head of hair well into his 60s. There's absolutely very, very little risk of me going bald, actually, so I don't worry about that happening at all. Does your family still talk to you, says Giants Editor 1029. Yes, they do. My family are extremely supportive. I came out to my parents pretty much as soon as I realized I was trans. I came out to them straight away because I wanted them to understand what I was going through and to hopefully, be there for me. And I kind of had the logic that if they're not going to support me, then I'd rather find out sooner than later. So I'm just going to tell them straight away. And I told them straight away, and they took it incredibly well, and they are still incredibly supportive of me to this day. You're playing fancy dress, says Paul. Don't care. We Are the People says, "So if you died, what gender would we find?" If I died, you would probably find that I have male genitals. Not sure what you do with that information. Not sure why you care. I mean, when I die, are random people off the street just going to turn up to my funeral to see what genitals I've got? Am I just going to get people crawling out of the woodwork from all over the world, gathering round to see whether I had a dick or a vagina when I die. I don't think anyone really is gonna care because I'm gonna be dead. So it's really irrelevant, to be quite honest. Blake says, over years of your transition, what have you found the hardest? Good question, Blake. I don't think I think, to be honest, I've been very lucky. I've been very privileged in the position that I'm in, that I haven't really had to put up with too many hardships. I've had a very supportive family and friends, a very supportive network of people around me. So I haven't really struggled, being accepted or anything like that. And because I haven't actually started my medical transition yet, I haven't really had to, face any challenges there. Although I obviously will when I do start that, because they make it as difficult as humanly possible for you to do that. I would say the only thing that I've really struggled with so far is when I tried to change. Well, I'm currently in the process of changing my legal name. My name is Saul. That is the name that I was born with. That is the name that I still use today. But I did change my middle name. And when I did that, I had to obviously apply for a new passport with the new middle name on it and a new photo of myself. And I did run into a little bit of trouble there because my GP refused to write a letter confirming that I was using my new name and confirming my preferred gender. So I still don't have my new passport yet. I am going to be applying for another passport later this year. I would say, yeah, that's the only thing that I've really, the only sort of obstacle that I've really come across is that one specific doctor refused to write a letter for me. But fortunately, you don't actually need a letter from a doctor to change the gender on your passport. You don't even need to be trans to change the gender on your passport. Actually, cross-dressers can also change their gender on their passports. If you are a man who dresses in drag, you can get a passport that says female on it. So you would think, with that knowledge in mind, that it would be easy for an actual trans person to get a passport in their preferred gender, but it's not. It's not easy at all. Why don't you just be yourself and enjoy life rather than playing a character all your life, says Paul Smith. Let me tell you, Paul, I am living as myself, and I am happier than I've ever been in my entire life. Like, this question always makes me laugh. I always get people like, why can't you just be happy with who you are? Like, I am happy with who I am. I cannot describe how happy I am with myself. I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy. So thank you for your concern, Sam. Charlotte says, if you're a part of your gender clinic, you can request a letter to issue to your passport office. Yeah, I'm aware of that. The thing is, because I haven't actually started medical transition or anything like that yet, I haven't actually got I haven't signed up with Gender GP or Gender Care or anything like that. So I am really sort of on my own at the minute in terms of changing the legal documents and stuff like that. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Ebony Cora says, whereabouts are you from? I am originally from Harrogate in North Yorkshire. I now live in Doncaster in South Yorkshire. I've lived here most of my life, apart from a brief period when I lived in Bath while I was at university. But I, pretty much born and raised, well, not born, but raised in Doncaster. Am I going to change my voice, says A-Docky. Probably at some point. My voice is definitely something which, personally, I've never been a fan of the sound of my voice. I've always hated my voice. And obviously, when I first came out, I thought, right, one of the first things that I want to do is voice training so that I can change my voice. But that shit's hard. It's hard to voice train. I've sort of come to terms with the voice that I have at the minute. I would like, genuinely, if I, dedicated enough time and effort to it, I could do voice training. I could get a more feminine voice. At the end of the day, my voice is what it is. It's not ideal. I'm not a big fan of it, but I'm kind of stuck with it until I get on with the voice training. Ruby Rick says, "Do what makes you happy. Life's too short." Thank you, Ruby Ricks. I try to. I try to. Ebony Cora. Oh, I think there was a question from Ebony Cora, which I couldn't see, unfortunately. Pete says, "If there's an apple, there's a banana." Not true at all. There are many, many cis women with prominent Adam's apples. This is just cartilage on the front of your trachea. All human beings have this. It just happens to tend to be more pronounced in men. That doesn't mean that all men have a visible Adam's apple. It doesn't mean that all women don't have a visible Adam's apple. I have one. You can see it. I don't care. Lisa says, "Genuine question. How do you know you want to be a girl? How do you know what that experience is?" Sorry, 1 second. Okay. Yeah, Lisa says, "How do you know you want to be a girl? How do you know what that experience is?" At first, it was less about wanting to be a girl, and it was more about not wanting to be a boy. And I think that's how a lot of people, figure out that they're transgender. It's not necessarily. It's more like it's more like you feel like you don't fit with the thing that you're supposed to be, right? The thing that people tell you that you're supposed to be. And you sort of gravitate towards the opposite, quote unquote. So it's okay. Chromosomes help if you're struggling. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So it's less. I think it's the sort of thing you have to sort of experience it. You do have to. You have to. It's hard to describe. It is hard to describe in like just off the top of your head, because it's not something that you just wake up one day and you're like, "Oh, I'm going to be a woman now." It's a lot more thought goes into it than that, which is why it's very difficult to just, with a click of your fingers, just explain it. But like I say, it's very much a kind of you experience it by living it. You know what I mean? Like I've lived like this publicly for 4 years. I go out in public like this, and I am just like this full time. So yeah, I have had the experience of a woman. Not every single experience that a cis woman has had, but I've had many experiences that are comparable to experiences had by cis women because I've lived like this for 4 years. Does that make sense? Okay, a lot of questions coming in thick and fast. Most of them are just which public toilets that I use, and as I've already said, I don't use public toilets at all. So none, ever. And before you say, "Yeah, but what if you had to?" I don't. I never use public toilets. Full stop. And I never will. So. Do you plan on having kids? Says the Mullet on Tour. Potentially, yes. I would like to have kids one day. It's not something that I want to rush into. I definitely think that I'm 25. I got plenty of time. I'm still, fairly young in the grand scheme of things. I would like to have kids one day, but I'm not exactly in a rush. D says, kids with your big chopper, yes, lad. I didn't realise you'd seen it, D, but I will take the compliment. Thank you very much. Do you know how to have kids? I am aware of the process that has to occur, yes, and I am more than capable of completing that process because, as I've mentioned earlier, yes, I do still have what I was born with down there. Are you on hormones? I am not on hormones at the minute. I would like to get on hormones. Yes, I would like to start my medical transition quite soon. I would like to take hormones, but I'm not interested in having any sort of surgery. Lavish Beauty by Sam says, how do you have kids? How does anyone have kids? Think about it. Think about it. CCV says, you want Baps and a Corey. That's a very delicate way of putting it, but yes. Kegsy says, would you like your kids to call you Mam or Dad? If I did have kids, I would probably prefer them to call me Mum. Tom Allen says, no hate, but why was you so unhappy with yourself that you'd want to change? Because I'm a lot happier now than I was. I haven't really changed. I was always this person. I just didn't realize it. And I think that's, what a lot of people don't understand about trans people is it's not that you wake up one day and you're like, I don't want to be this person anymore. I'm going to be this person now. It's more like I always was this person and I just, needed time to figure that out. Ella says, you're beautiful and come across as very intelligent. I wish you all the best and send in love. Thank you very much, Ella. That's very kind of you. And thank you for following as well. How old were you when you first realised, said Lisa? I was 21. Wait, no, was I 21 or 20? 25 now. I was 21. I was 21 when I realised, so it was 4 years ago. RULS Dempsey 97 says, but you aren't on HRT after 4 years and don't want any surgeries, so you aren't trans. So that is called transmedicalism. It's based on the idea that trans people have to do X, Y, and Z in order to be considered valid. And it really just goes against, any kind of logic, because like the whole point is that my body is irrelevant. It doesn't matter what is going on here. It's what's up here, right? In here, I am a woman, so it doesn't really matter what's going on outside. So, whether I have surgery or not is not going to make a difference. I'm not, I'm not less of a woman or more of a woman based on whether I've had my dick cut off or not. That doesn't enter into it. Charlie Elkin says it does though. No, it doesn't. It just doesn't. Because gender and sex are not the same thing. My sex is male. My sex will always be male. My gender is woman. Okay. Sorry about that. Erin said, do people in public give you dirty looks? Not really. Occasionally. I think what I've found is that the vast majority of people don't actually care. When you're online, there's a lot. people are a lot more vocal online. Let's put it that way. Even if people in real life are bothered, they tend to not really say anything. The anonymity of being online, gives people a lot more power to say shit. And also, and it's kind of an echo chamber kind of thing as well. You know what I mean? Like, I will tell you one thing. I have never once in public been called out for being trans. I've never had someone, point at me in public and say, "You're transgender." That has literally never happened to me. Online, it happens all the time. People online will have absolutely no restraint on stuff like that. In real life, people don't care. And right here we've got people saying, "Oh yeah, I bet that's a lie." Trust me, they really do. But I'm telling you, in my own personal experience, I've never received any kind of bad mouthing or anything like that in public as a trans person. It's not happened to me, and I've been out for 4 years. Because again, like I said, people online are a lot more vocal than people in public. People in public, they actually just don't care. What about in school, says Bailey? Well, I didn't come out until a couple of years after I finished university, so I never had that experience. I was never trans at school. What does AMA mean? AMA means ask me anything, and I will do my best to answer. Sarah says, "What made you want to transition?" Good question, Sarah. Again, it's a very long question. It's a very complicated answer. If you want to hear the full answer, I do have a video about this. It's like 13 minutes long. But if you want like the long, complicated answer, I would recommend watching that video. Because it's very much not something that you can just explain in just a few words. But it essentially, I'm more comfortable like this than I was before, and it took a long time because obviously, how do you figure something like that out? You don't really figure something like that out unless you try it. Does that make sense? Like, you don't really, you have to sort of experiment a little bit to figure this out. And if I didn't, if I hadn't tried it, if I hadn't experimented it, if I hadn't asked myself those questions, would I be more comfortable as a woman? Would I be happier if I lived as a woman? If I hadn't have asked myself those questions, then I wouldn't have gotten to the answer that I did, which is, I'm trans, which is where I am now. And I think a lot of people, I think there could. Sorry, there's an ice cream van outside. If you can hear that music, that's an ice cream van out on the street. But yeah, I think that a lot of people, underestimate the possibility that you could live your whole life without even realizing that you're transgender. There are probably people out there who lived their entire life and never even entertained the possibility that they could be transgender, right? Because some people just know. Some people know straight away. Some people know, like, from the age of 3 years old, they know that they're different. They know that they're uncomfortable with the gender that they have been given. But then other people, they don't know. Other people don't realize it until much later in life. I didn't realize it until much later in life. And again, I wouldn't have realized it unless I asked myself those questions. D says, biology decides, bro. Sadly, you can't change it. Biology does not decide gender. Gender has absolutely nothing to do with biology. Biology is sex. Sex is biological. Male and female, those are sexes, those are biological. Man and woman, those are genders, those are not biological. Those are decided by society, right? Society decides what men and women are. And that changes over time. Like, you look a few hundred years ago, men wore dresses and skirts, and that was completely normal. Like, it was an everyday thing. Like, there are so many accounts throughout history of men wearing clothing that we today would consider feminine. If you look at like Georgian, if you look at men from the Georgian era who've got massive, massive wigs that are this big, and they've got faces full of makeup, and that was normal. That was just how men were at the time. And today we consider those things to be feminine traits. So how are men and women? How is man and woman a hard-coded biological thing if our idea of manliness and femininity change with time? What's that got to do with gender, mate? I've literally just explained why. Any hair tips, says HC29095. Just look after it. Just look after it. You don't really have to do anything special with it. I don't do anything special with my hair. I don't cut it. I don't style it. I've never dyed it or anything like that. I just wash it regularly with Head and Shoulders, and that's it. And this is the result of 4 years of hair growth. So yeah, just take care of it. Basically, take care of it, and it'll turn out all right. I like your makeup, says Lily Ross. Thank you very much, Lily. Ooh, one sec. Ooh. Okay. I have a question, says Niall. Go ahead, Niall. And thank you for everyone who has asked questions so far. Okay, am I gonna right? The toilet question is I've got to say, first of all, just the most unoriginal question I've ever gotten. Every single live stream, 50 people will ask me this question, and every time I will give the exact same answer. I do not use public toilets. Ever. Not in an emergency, not if I'm really desperate. I never use public toilets. At all. That's the answer. Please stop asking me this question. What do I do if I need the... I hold it. I hold it. I'm very good at holding it. But what if you did? I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I use the toilet in my house. I go to the toilet, then I go out for the day, then I come back at the end of the day, and I go to the toilet in my house again. It's really not that difficult to hold it all day. Ibra says, I have a genuine question. If you have a genuine question, please ask it. If you're just going to ask me which toilet I use again, I will give you the same answer again. Niall says, how long have you been transforming? If you mean transitioning, 4 years. I've been out for 4 years. Sorry, wrong wording. It's okay. Don't worry about it. Sean says, I have a question. Please ask your question, Sean. I think that's 3 times now you've said I have a question. What's the question? Lots of people have questions, it seems. Okay, we're doing this now, are we? Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Do you have a partner? Says Gemma Louise. Not at the moment, Gemma. No, but I'm okay. I'm happy on my own for the time being. What are your pronouns? Says Hall. She, her. Thank you very much for asking. What's a pronoun, says John. Good question, John. A pronoun is a word which takes the place of a noun in a sentence. So, for example, Saul went to the shop. Saul is a noun. Replace the noun with she. She went to the shop. That's a pronoun. Are you on HRT, says Niall. I'm not, Niall, no. I would like to be. I do eventually plan to get on HRT, but at the minute, no. John says, so I can be a helicopter then. Well, helicopter isn't a pronoun, John. It is, in fact, a noun. And believe it or not, helicopters are not humans. Men are humans. Women are humans. Helicopters are not humans. So no, unfortunately. Trump or Kamala? Well, I'm not American, so I have no say in who is the president of the United States. I can't vote in US elections. Callum says, Saul, that is my name. Don't wear it out. Lily Ross says, Saul, you have a very beautiful smile. Thank you very much, Lily. Better Call, says Kick Clips. Yes, yes, I have the same name as the man from the program Better Call Saul. And believe me, I hear about that all the time. I've never actually watched Better Call Saul. It's not really my cup of tea, but I'm painfully aware of its existence because I just happen to have the same name as the main character. Obviously, I had that name before the show existed because it's the name that I've had all my life. But yes, my name is Saul. There is also a character in a TV show called Better Call Saul whose name is Saul. Do your parents support you, says Zoe. Yes, they do, Zoe. My parents are incredibly supportive. I came out to my parents very early on in my transition. Like I was saying earlier, I kind of felt like I would rather know straight away if they're gonna be okay with it or not. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want to go like a whole year and then tell them and have them react negatively to it. I thought if they're gonna react negatively, I'd rather just tell them straight away. So I was very upfront about it. I told them pretty much as soon as I came out, and they took it very well. They were very supportive of me. They still are very supportive of me, and I'm very grateful to them for that. So they failed as parents, says George. I don't know how you could really consider that a failure. I'm still here and I'm still very happy. I'm the oldest of 5 kids, and the other 4 are also doing very great and living very great lives. So personally, I would say they succeeded as parents. I would say they exceeded expectations as parents. But if you want to say that they were failures just because one of the 5 kids happens to be transgender, then sure, they were complete failures. They're horrible, awful people. But, you know, personally, I think they did pretty well. Zoe says, are the others trans? Nope, I'm the only trans person of my siblings. When did you know, says user 1234567. When did I know that I was trans? Well, I was 21. It was in June, July-ish of 2020. When I first sort of realised, there was always a sort of, in the back of my mind, a sort of kind of feeling that I wasn't really comfortable with the life that I was living, but it didn't really click until I was 21. But yeah, it was about 4 years ago. It sort of dawned on me, and I started to question it. I started to, think to myself, would this make me happier? Would I be more comfortable with myself? And yeah, long story short, here I am now. Okay. Are you Christian, says Kick Clips. I'm not. No, I'm not religious myself. I mean, technically, yes, because I was baptized, Church of England. But I'm not. I don't practice. I don't actually believe in any god, to be honest. But yes, technically speaking, I am Christian because I was baptized, as were the rest of my brothers and sisters. Thank you for following, Lacey. Leighton says, I don't believe you're a bird. Well, I don't really care whether you believe it or not. Ellie says, are you happy with your current name? Yes, I am, Ellie. I'm very happy with my name. So for those of you who are not aware, my name is Saul. It is the name that I was given when I was born. The reason that I'm called Saul is actually because my dad is a big fan of Guns N' Roses. So I'm actually named after Saul Hudson, aka Slash, the lead guitarist of Guns N' Roses, widely considered by many to be one of the best guitarists who ever lived. So I'm quite honoured that I'm named after Slash. I think that's pretty cool. I've always liked my name. I've always thought it was a really great name. It's not a very common name here in the UK. There aren't too many people called Saul. When I was at school, there was only one other kid in the whole school called Saul. So it always felt like a very personal name. It always felt very unique. And obviously now it's even more unique because it's very rare to find many women called Saul. So yeah, I like my name. I'm very, very happy with my name. I did change my middle names because they were a lot more masculine. I personally, because I didn't know anyone else called Saul, I never really thought of Saul as being a masculine name, because I was the only person called Saul that I knew. So I never sort of associated it with it being a boy's name. It was just my name. So I was very happy to keep it when I came out. I have, like I say, changed my middle names, but my first name, Saul, I am planning on keeping it. I'm very happy. I'm very happy to be called Saul. It's a lovely name, says Ellie. Thank you very much, Ellie. Dimitri J says, your name should be Steve. No. No offense to all the Steves out there, but I cannot imagine being called Steve. Again, no offense intended. If your name is Steve, I'm very sorry. Okay, it seems like things might be quietening down a bit, which is good. I'm not gonna complain. We got a nice steady flow of questions in the chat. That's what I like to see. Me says, swimming, what changing rooms do you use? I have not been swimming for about 10 years. A long, long time before I even came out. It's been a very long time since I went for a swim. I haven't even really thought about going swimming post transition. I don't really enjoy swimming, so probably won't. Um, it's not really not my activity really. It's not. I'd prefer to go for a nice long walk. I think that's how I exercise. Is a walk or a jog or a bike ride. But swimming, I've never really been into swimming. People have stopped being so mean, says Lily. Yeah, I mean it does happen with every live stream I do. I'm not new to live streaming. I've been streaming on TikTok for almost a year now. And it happens, someone will come across the stream, they'll get a good laugh out of it, and then they'll share it with all their friends, and then suddenly there's 500 people all just saying bloke and, oh, I can see your Adam's apple. Again, it doesn't really bother me, but it happens. It's inevitable. I mean, when you're online, when you're live streaming, anyone can join. You have no idea what sort of people are going to join and what sort of stuff they're going to say. So believe me, I'm very used to people just joining the live stream, calling me a bloke, and then leaving. It happens. What public toilets do you use, says David. What toilet do you use, says Kings. What toilets do you use, pal, says Spino. To answer all of your questions, I don't use public toilets. Thank you for asking. Please, 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 please think of a different question. I cannot tell you. I think I've been asked that question more than any other question I've been asked combined. Please stop asking me that question. You don't deserve that, though, says Lily. I mean, I don't think anyone really deserves to get hate on the internet. It just happens, that's just a consequence of the internet. That's how the internet is. Again, like I was saying earlier, people have a certain anonymity on the internet. They can hide behind a faceless profile. And people will say stuff on the internet that they would never say in real life. Like I was saying earlier, people have said some really, really crazy shit to me on the internet, but I have never, ever been called out in real life. Nobody has ever said anything rude to me in public about me being trans. But it happens all the time online, which just proves the point that people will say stuff online that they would never have the bollocks to say in real life. Keyboard Warriors said exactly. But again, it doesn't bother me. I've never been bothered by what people have said, by negative comments that I received online, because that's not really why I do what I do. I'm not here for their benefit. I'm here to try to educate people, to try and help people to understand, what my life is like and what it's like to be a trans person. Excuse me. Because I've always believed, I've always maintained that a lot of hate comes from not understanding, right? A lot of people dislike things that they don't understand. So what I've always tried to do here on TikTok is help people to understand. That's what I'm here for. So negative comments really don't bother me. If I can just get through to one person, if I get a single comment that says, you've helped me to understand better, I didn't get it, but I do now, that's what I'm here for. That's what makes me happy. And, it really does, light me up. It really does make my day when I get a comment saying, you've changed my perspective on this, you've made me think differently about this, you've helped me to understand this. So yeah, that's why I'm here. That's why I do what I do, to try and help people to understand. Gary Cooper says, I don't understand algebra, but I don't hate it. I mean, Fair enough. Fair enough. It's not a universally applicable theory. But like I say, I do think that in general, people tend to not like things that they don't understand, and I think really they prove that in the kind of comments that they leave. Like, people leave comments that prove that they don't understand what trans people are. You know, people ask me questions like, "Oh, have you chopped it off yet?" That's another very common question that I get. Have I had the surgery, or have I fully transitioned? And questions like that, usually they're asked, you know, just to provoke a negative reaction. Usually they are just people trying to upset me, which doesn't work, but they will try. But you see questions like that, and it just reaffirms the point that the people who ask those questions don't actually understand what they're asking and don't actually understand the answers. Which is why, again, I try to help people to understand. Jake Whelan too says, "I'm not trying to upset you, but do you still have it?" Case in point there. Thank you for the question, Jake. Yes, I do still have it, and no, I don't plan on getting rid of it. But again, this question comes from a place of misunderstanding. And I'm not trying to say that in a way to suggest that you're being deliberately ignorant. But what I am saying is that you asking that question suggests to me that you don't quite understand what being trans is, because being trans isn't just, you know, I am this thing and I'm going to become this thing. It's not a very, you know, there's no like defined start and end point. Everyone has a different journey with it. This idea of a full transition or a complete transition is a myth, essentially, which is another thing that I, you know, that people don't necessarily get. And it's okay. It's okay to not understand things. Like, there's plenty of stuff that I don't understand. You know, nobody can know everything. Nobody can understand everything. But there are people who know that they don't understand everything, and there are people who think that they do understand everything, even though they don't, right? And, you know, you have to, at the end of the day, you have to be the bigger person and put your hands up and admit there are some things that I don't know. And, you know, can I listen and learn, you know? Hey, says Catman Charlie, how are you doing? Baz says, "What have you done? Jesus loves you." That's very nice of Jesus to love me and support me as a trans person. What a great ally Jesus is to the trans community. Even though I don't believe in him, but thank you very much, Jesus. Scotty Dog says, "What have I missed?" You've not missed much, Scotty Dog. It's been just a pretty basic Q&A today. I haven't actually played any games or done anything in particular. I don't really have anything specific planned. It was supposed to just be a Q&A, so like I say, you haven't really missed anything. MTB Freddy says, "How do you have that chest pump?" I'm not sure what you mean by that, Freddy. If you're referring to these, they are not real. They're padding. So there's your answer. Catman Charlie says, "You're very open about it." I try to be, Catman Charlie. That's the other thing as well. I try to be an open book. There are certain questions that I think are a little bit too far, but at the end of the day, the vast majority of questions I will try to answer. Even if the people asking them are being deliberately rude, even if they're trying to provoke a negative reaction, I will still, you know, try to at least give some kind of answer. Because again, I want to help people understand, and sometimes, even if a question's asked in a negative way, even if a question is asked in a way that it's trying to provoke a reaction, the answer can sometimes help people and maybe change their minds. So, and like I say, I think the best policy is to be an open book. The best policy is to try and answer as openly and honestly as you can, because that's the best way to help people understand. Bobby says, do you want kids in future? Yes, I do want to have kids one day. Tig says, can you give birth? No, I will leave that up to my partner, but I can provide one half of the ingredients, shall we say. But I will not be doing the birthing for obvious reasons. What games do you usually play, says Marley V. Kelly. So, in terms of games that I stream Minecraft, Euro Truck Simulator, Farming Simulator, Train Simulator, OMSI, which is a bus simulator, lots of simulator games, big fan of simulator games. Factorio, I stream that at the minute, and starting on Sunday, I'm going to be streaming Oddworld Stranger's Wrath, which is one of my favourite games. I'm really excited to be playing that. But those are the games that I play on stream. Off stream, in my personal time, I play a lot of games with my friends. Particularly, we're particularly big on games like Phasmophobia and Lethal Company. Both absolutely fantastic games. Absolutely love them. Recently, we tried playing Bookshot Roulette, which I've played the single player, but I've never played the multiplayer version of it before, and we tried that the other night, and it was very fun. But yeah, I don't really have, like, apart from simulators, I'm very big on simulators, but apart from that, I don't really have a specific interest in games. I, like a wide variety of games from many different genres. I'm a big fan of sci-fi. As you've probably guessed, if you're a regular viewer of mine, I've played Alien Isolation, I've played Abe's Exodus, I play a lot of No Man's Sky, Subnautica. Big fan of science fiction, and yeah, so the two biggest genres of game that I play are anything sci-fi related and anything simulator related. And I do have all the simulation gear over here. Got the steering wheel, we've got a gear shifter here, handbrake, we got the side panel over here, we got the ignition lock here. So I've got all the gear for simulator games. And I do have a video coming out quite soon about all of that stuff, breaking down where I got everything and how much it all costs and stuff like that. So please do follow if you are interested in any of that kind of thing. But yeah, that's my gaming interest. And like I say, I will be playing Stranger's Wrath on Friday if you want to join me for that. Megabyte Gaming says, Phasmophobia is scary as hell in VR. I would love to try Phasmophobia in VR. I really wish I could afford VR. It's quite expensive. But yeah, I have actually worked with VR a little bit in the past because I studied game design at university. So I have had the honour of actually making a few prototype games in VR. So I do have some experience with VR, but obviously I don't have my own actual headset. I would like to. There's a lot of games that I'd like to play in VR. I'd like to see if it's possible to combine VR with my setup, because I can imagine playing Euro Truck in VR and being able to look around the truck in VR. But then, how would I see the actual physical steering wheel on my desk if I'm wearing a VR headset? I'm not sure how that would work. So I think logistically there might be some drawbacks to it, but it would be fun to sort of experiment and see if you could play Farming Sim or Euro Truck in VR. Jake Whelan says, no offense, but does it cost a lot of money to transition? It can do, Jake, yeah. So obviously I need to preface this by saying that I actually haven't started my medical transition. The only transition that I've done is legally. So I have changed my name by deed poll, and I have applied for a new passport. The deed poll cost me £30 and the passport application cost me £90. So I guess you could say I've spent a grand total of £120 so far on my transition. But yeah, in terms of medical stuff, I haven't done any medical stuff yet, so I can't really say anything about the price. It can vary. It can vary quite heavily depending on who you go to, where you get it from. If your GP is going to, support it, which sometimes they will, sometimes they won't. But it can vary quite a lot. let's just say that. Yobes said, are you not worried about hair loss? No, I'm not worried about hair loss at all, Yobes. There's no history of hair loss in my family. As I was saying earlier, my dad and granddad both had a full head of hair. My dad still does have a full head of hair. My granddad doesn't. He's dead. Sorry, I said that a bit bluntly. But when he was alive, he also had a full head of hair. There's no history of baldness or hair loss in my family, so no, I'm not worried about losing my hair. S says, someone's son. Close, I am someone's daughter. My parents are, all three of my parents are very supportive. For context, I have my mum, dad, and my stepmom, who has raised me for most of my life, so I consider her sort of my third parent. But all three of my parents have been very supportive of my transition. They're all very wonderful people. They've made me feel very comfortable. They've helped me with my legal transition and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm very, very grateful to my parents and just my family in general. Like I said earlier, I've got 4 brothers and sisters. All 4 of them are very supportive as well. I've got grandparents, aunts and uncles, cousins, and just the whole family generally has been very, very supportive. They hate you, mate, says you fucking melt. Okay, if you say so. I mean, I know for a fact that they don't. But okay. In fact, it always makes me laugh when people comment this, because my family have actually been really vocally supportive of me. I don't mean that they're just okay with it. I mean that they actually will go out of their way to argue with people and defend me. That's how supportive they are. If it was just kind of a shoulder shrug, oh, we're okay with it, we don't really care what you do with your life, then you might have an argument to make. But when they're as vocally supportive and defensive as they are, I don't think you can really construe that as a lie. I don't think you can really say that they're faking it when they're so vehemently supportive. That's so lovely the way they are, says Jojo. Yeah, I am very lucky. I do appreciate that I am incredibly lucky to be supported, because I know that a lot of people are not supported by their families. I am very privileged in that respect, and I am very grateful that my family have taken it so well. What are your thoughts on Lily Tino, says George. I'm not a fan. She's not a great person. I don't really have any thoughts on her beyond that. I don't really like her. That's it. End of, really. She exists, and that's that. Do you have any piercings, says Zoe? I don't have any piercings, no. I did actually have a very small stud in my ear many years ago, but not anymore. It's healed over now. That's how long it's been since I had a piercing. I've never really been interested in getting another one, and I'm not really interested in any other kind of body modification. I'm not bothered about tattoos or anything like that. I don't have anything against them, and in fact, my dad has loads of tattoos and piercings. And so I'm absolutely okay with them. But me personally, I'm just not interested in having them myself. That being said, there are some pretty cool tattoos out there. There's some pretty cool piercings out there. They're just not for me personally. Big Boris says, body modifications, you've obviously had loads, mate. It's funny you should say that, Boris, because as I mentioned earlier, I haven't started my medical transition, so I have had literally no modification whatsoever. Like, this is completely my natural body. I haven't had any surgery, haven't had any hormones, nothing. So we know we can see it. I mean, Boris can't see it because Boris literally just said, we can tell you've had loads of modifications. So is it obvious that I've had them, or is it obvious that I've not had them? Make your minds up, guys. Come on. Why no hormones, says Chantel. There's not really any specific reason for it. I'm just not ready for it yet. I would like to be in a sort of more stable financial position. Right now, I don't really have the money to spend on that kind of thing. And I definitely don't want to do it on the NHS because I'll probably be waiting for 17 years before I even get seen. So I do intend to go on hormones, and I do intend to do it privately. But I'm not really in any rush. I don't want to start until I am, financially comfortable to do that. And it's not really something that I consider a priority. For some trans people, it is literally, like a life or death thing. Some people have gender dysphoria that is so extreme that, they have to medically transition ASAP. For me personally, I'm pretty comfortable with how I am right now. Like I say, it would be nice to medically transition, and I would like to medically transition eventually. But it's not something that I have to do right now, or I'm gonna, do something. I'm happy enough. I'm happy enough as I am. So when I'm ready, I will. But I'm just not ready yet. That's okay. M says, do you still go by your birth name? Yes, I do. Saul is the name that I was assigned at birth. Saul is the name that my parents gave me when I was born. And I'm very happy with that name. I decided to keep it when I came out because it's a fairly rare name in the UK. And yeah, it's just a good name. I like the name. Do you intend to ever change it, says M? No, like I was saying earlier, I'm very happy with my name. I have already changed my middle names because my middle names were James and Bernard, which are very masculine names. I wasn't a big fan of those, so I have changed those. But my first name, Saul, I'm very happy to keep. I like that name, and I don't intend to change it. What age, says Ross Mooney? Do you mean what age am I now? I'm 25. Where in the UK am I from, says Classic Car Chris. I'm originally from Harrogate in North Yorkshire. I currently live in Doncaster in South Yorkshire. And I've lived here pretty much all of my life. You look 40, says Sam. Okay, thanks. It's another one of those things where I'd like to do it, but it's not really a priority. I don't necessarily like my voice. Not to put too fine a point upon it, I hate my voice. I've never liked the sound of my voice. Even before I came out as trans, I've always hated the sound of my voice. So I would like to change it, yes, but at the same time, I don't really consider it a priority. It doesn't really matter that much at the end of the day. Because although I don't like the sound of my voice, I also don't really care what other people think of it, if that makes sense. Like, yes, I'm quite self-conscious about it, but the emphasis there is on self-conscious. Like, I don't care what other people think about my voice. I personally am not a fan of it. But yeah, I don't really care what other people think about it enough to voice train that urgently. I will do it eventually, when I'm ready. What is Ashbridge Industries, says Victor. Good question, Victor. So Ashbridge is my surname, first and foremost. Ashbridge Industries is kind of like my brand name. It originally came about when I was at university. I studied game design at university, and whenever we would work on projects, whenever we'd make like prototype games and stuff like that, we would, have to put our sort of logo on it, our branding. And I always used the name Ashbridge Industries, and it's just kind of stuck. So now whenever I do any sort of official projects, whenever I, do anything official online and stuff like that, I use the name Ashbridge Industries. So that's where that comes from. I feel bad for the parents, says Fenio. Don't feel bad. They are all incredibly supportive of me. They're very, very vocally supportive of me. Big shout out to my parents. Thank you very much for not being arseholes and kicking me out when I came out. Bro is Sid from Ice Age. I mean, I'll give you points for originality there, Fenio. That's quite a good one. Mia says gender. I am a trans woman. When did you come out? 4 years ago. Bacteria says there are people that can help you. There certainly are, Bacteria. Those people are called doctors, and the way they can help me is by helping me to medically transition, which is the recommended treatment for trans people. So yes, there certainly are people out there who can help me. What are you biologically? Biologically, I am male. Again, I don't mind saying that because it's a fact. I am biologically male. Male is my sex. Woman is my gender. Simple as that. We can tell, says John. I don't care. Again, I get this comment a lot as well. People being like, oh, it's obvious. Oh, I can tell. Oh, you're not convincing anybody. I don't care. I'm not doing this for your benefit. I'm not doing this to convince people that I'm a woman. I'm not doing this to trick people into thinking that I'm a woman. I am a woman. Whether you accept it or not is really irrelevant to me. I don't care whatsoever. And again, you can comment no you're not as much as you like. I don't care, because I am. Dan says, why do you all come out on TikTok lives, but we never see you in the streets? Not sure what that's supposed to mean, Dan. I go out in public all the time, and as I mentioned earlier, I don't get anywhere near as much hate in real life as I do on TikTok. In fact, I don't get any hate in real life. It's only online that people seem to care. What's your favourite flavour of Monster? Says Mumsy Bear. Good question, Mumsy Bear. My favourite flavour of Monster is Ultraviolet, which tastes like Parma Violets, and you can't buy it anywhere, which really pisses me off because I love it and I can never find it anywhere. What's your favourite horror TV show? Says Lemon I don't know. I don't think I really watch horror TV shows. If we're talking horror films, then my favourite film is Alien. My favourite film of all time is the original Alien from 1979. Big fan of the Alien franchise and just sci-fi horror in general. But I don't really know if I've watched any horror TV shows, to be honest with you. Sarah Loves Train says you've got an enviable jaw structure. Thank you very much, Sarah. It is very chiseled. Thank you for noticing. What kind of games did you make? Says Video Memento Island. So in terms of games that I've made, I should say first and foremost, I haven't actually released any games publicly. I've only made like a few prototypes that I worked on while I was at university. There is a game that I am sort of working on, like on and off. It's been a while since I updated it, but it is technically still in development. I'm working on a game called The Spotter's Guide to Skelbourne Park, which is a 2D point and click bird watching game. It's less boring than it sounds. I've always been very interested in birds. My granddad was very big on bird watching, and he sort of got me interested in it. So I think if I ever do actually release the game, I'd probably dedicate it to my granddad, who got me into bird watching in the first place. Hope he's not with us. No, he is in fact dead. But yeah, I've always been interested in bird watching. I think birds are very fascinating. There's so many different amazing bird species here in the UK. So the game is basically you go out with a camera and you take photos of the different birds, and it's like a pixel art kind of style. And you wouldn't believe how cute birds look in a pixel art style. So yeah, I don't know if the game will ever be finished. You can check it out on itch.io if you want to see what it looks like at the minute. But that's kind of my passion project. When I have time to work on it, which I rarely do because I'm always so busy with other shit. But yeah, if you actually want to get a sort of taste for the kind of games that I'm interested in making, yeah, check out Ashbridge Industries on itch.io, and you'll see it there. Do you have siblings, says Mr. West? Better hope so, because no way your family's bloodline ends with you. First of all, Mr. West, I do actually intend to have children myself one day, but just in case I don't, have no fears, because my sister already has a 2-year-old child, my wonderful nephew. So yeah, please don't worry about the family genes being passed on. The next generation of Ashbridges has already been propagated. Yeah, I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters. And one of them, as I say, has already had a kid. Is your hair real or a wig, says AJ? This is my real hair, which I've been growing for about 4 years. And as you can see, it's down to my chest area. But it is real. It is my real hair. I just look after it. I've been growing it for a very long time. I just take good care of it. Why are you wearing Lippy, says Zero? Because I want to, and I can. It's a free country. No one's stopping me. It is gorgeous hair, says Lily. Thank you very much. Hair looks lovely, says Kiwi Boy. Thank you very much. Are they socks in your top, says Yup. They're not socks. No, they are foam inserts. So yes, these are not real boobs. I don't have real boobs because I haven't started my medical transition yet. But they're not. It's not tissue and it's not socks. They are in fact like actual proper breast inserts. But they're not actual breasts. Hannah says, absolute kudos to you, by the way, because I'd be swinging at some of the people in here. I mean, it is tempting, Hannah, it is tempting. But at the end of the day, if you react like that, then they win, At the end of the day, the people who leave comments like that are only trying to get a negative reaction out of you. So if you give them that negative reaction, then they've won. Whereas if you just ignore them, they tend to just get bored and go away. And also, as I've said many, many times before, it doesn't bother me. Negative comments don't bother me in the slightest. I genuinely couldn't care less what people on the internet think of me. I'm very lucky to be accepted and supported by my family and friends and, those people around me. So, what people online think is really irrelevant when the people around me are supportive, Will says, you're not expected. I think you meant accepted there, Will. And yes, I am. As I said earlier, my parents are incredibly supportive, like really, really vocally supportive. And this, I was saying this earlier. People always say stuff like, "Oh, I bet they're just pretending to support you," and like, I don't think you can really make that case when people are so vocally supportive. You know what I mean? I don't think if they were just pretending to support me, then they wouldn't be as defensive and as vocally supportive as they are, right? If they were just pretending, then it'd kind of just be a shoulder shrug, like, yeah, we don't really care. I don't think you can really call it pretending when it becomes as vocal and vehement as it is, I know for 100% fact that my parents do support me, and I know for 100% fact that it is not fake. They actually genuinely do support me. Parents love unconditionally, says Daisy. Exactly, as decent parents should, right? 360 of the trim, please, says Mr. West. If you want a 360, I can turn around and show you the back. There you go. There you go. Oh, actually, I need to go all the way around. There you go. That technically was a 360, so there you go. You've seen the whole thing. I love your hair colour, says Nikki. Thank you very much. I like my hair. I like my brown hair. Victor says, isn't the transition surgery free in England? Technically, yes and no. You can get it on the NHS, but you have to wait for an exceptionally long time, and people would rather you didn't. As a matter of fact, people would rather you just curled up and died, which is why I would prefer to get it done privately, if I ever did get it done, which I'm not really too bothered about anyway. But yeah, technically you can get it for free if you don't mind waiting a couple of decades. Thank you for the roses, by the way, Kiwi Boy. It's very kind of you. And thank you everyone else who sent gifts today. Very kind of you. User 286629292973 says, you shouldn't put important life-saving operations over a fantasy. One, trans surgery can very often be life-saving because of gender dysphoria, which is a very real thing that's backed up by medical science. And two, if the NHS was actually funded properly, we would have more than enough money to do all surgeries, regardless of priority. So, really, instead of blaming trans people, you should blame the fact that the NHS isn't properly funded, right? Do you want a GF or a BF, says Jaden. I'm not too fussed, to be honest, Jaden. I'm not really looking for any kind of relationship right now, to be honest. But I wouldn't be too bothered with whatever. Scott says, "Don't blame anyone and fix yourself." That is so ironic, coming from a group of people who blame trans people for everything. Literally every problem in human history is somehow my fault because I'm transgender. So, maybe look to yourself with that one. I think I'm going to have to turn the big light on because the sun has gone in and now I look incredibly pale. So, hang on, let me turn this light off here. There we go, that's better. Sorry if the video quality gets a little bit worse. It's starting to get a little bit darker, so it'll look a little bit more grainy. I apologise for that. What age did you transition, says John Lennon. I came out 4 years ago in 2020 when I was 21. I'm 25 now. What's pronoun, says Jaden? She, her. Thank you very much for asking. What are your ambitions? Good question. So there's a few. I have a few sort of long-term goals in my life. First and foremost, I would like to become a published game developer. As I mentioned earlier, I do have a degree in game design, and I am working on a few game-related projects at the minute. I'd love to publish my own game. I am working on one at the minute. And hopefully one day it might actually reach a state where it's publishable. So that's one of my goals in life. I would like to go to Japan. I speak Japanese. I've been learning Japanese for about 8 years. And I would like to go over there for maybe just for a year or two. And actually, I came very close in 2020. I was going to go over to teach English. I actually got offered a job and I was supposed to start it in August of 2020. Then COVID happened and I wasn't allowed to leave the country. And by the time COVID had ended, the job, had already been given to someone else. So literally I came this close to actually having a job in Japan. And then coronavirus happened and it got chucked out of the window. But I would like to. It's still a goal that I'd like to revisit. I've essentially already done it once. The only thing that I didn't do was actually go over there, but I'd already gotten the job. I'd already applied for a visa and all of that. Everything was done, basically. And then lockdown happened. But like I say, it is definitely a goal that I would like to revisit at some point. And obviously, I'd like to medically transition at some point as well. That's obviously quite a big goal, I would say. So those are my main ambitions in life. Archie says, is it considered offensive to use they, them on someone you're unsure of their pronouns? I would say no. No, not at all, Archie. I think I would say it's the most respectful thing to do, right? If you are just meeting from someone for the first time and you're not sure, obviously, you can just ask them. But there's nothing wrong with, there's nothing wrong with using they and them just as a basis before you find out that they prefer something else. So, there's nothing wrong with that. Jaden says, my pronouns are super and car. What's yours? My pronouns are she and her, Jaden, and it may interest you to know that super and car are actually not pronouns. Super is an adjective and car is a noun. Thank you very much, says Archie. No problem. No problem. Matty says, they, them are plural. I'm not even going to dignify that with an answer. Bacteria says, aren't you afraid you're going to regret the medical transition? No. I'm more afraid that I would live my whole life not medically transitioning and then regret not doing it. I think it's much more likely, like immensely more likely, that I would regret not doing it than I would regret doing it. Is it expensive to medically transition, says Zoe? It depends. It depends a lot. Obviously, it depends where you are. It depends what country you are. In the UK, there's a lot of factors that can affect it as well. Theoretically, you can get it done on the NHS, but there is a very long waiting list. There's very strict criteria. It's very common for people to get rejected because technically you do have to have a diagnosis of gender dysphoria, which not all trans people have, believe it or not. So technically you can get it done free of charge, but it's very unlikely. It's more often than not, you'll have to pay for it. And the vast majority of people who transition in the UK do it privately because it's cheaper. Not because it's cheaper, it's more expensive, but it's quicker, it's less hassle. But it can vary depending on who specifically you go with, right? Nick says, any doctor doing those surgeries free of charge should be struck off. Again, I'm not even going to dignify that one with an answer either. Ash says he's a cross-dresser. Nope, I'm not a cross-dresser. I am transgender. That they are two different things. Cross-dressing is a very real thing that does exist, but not all cross-dressers are transgender, and vice versa. I am not a cross-dresser. I'm transgender. Okay, I'm just getting a lot of people commenting vomit reactions now, so if nobody has any more questions, then maybe I'll start to wind things up. We have been going for nearly 2 hours now. If anyone does have any more questions, then please feel free to get them in. If you just want to leave vomit reactions, go ahead and do that as well. Doesn't really bother me. But, you know, it's a free country. Do you have a partner, says Zoe? Not at the minute, Zoe, and I'm not really too bothered at the minute. I've got other things to focus on, you know. So yeah, it's not really a priority for me at the minute. I'm happy enough as I am. What's your makeup routine, says Lily Ross. There's a good question, Lily. So obviously, the first step of my makeup routine is to shave because yes, I do grow facial hair. So first things first, shave. Then put on some moisturizer. Sometimes some exfoliator as well. Not every day, because you're not supposed to put exfoliator on every day, but you know, a couple of times a week, put some exfoliator on. Then some primer, which helps the makeup to actually bind to your skin a bit better. So a layer of primer, a layer of foundation. I usually use liquid foundation and then powdered setting powder. People have different opinions on this, but most people agree that you should use either wet foundation and setting powder, or you should use powdered foundation and setting spray. Like, you shouldn't use both liquid or both powder. So I use liquid foundation and then powder for setting. So foundation, bit of setting powder, bit of lipstick. Maybe do my eyes. I don't always do my eyes, but sometimes if I'm feeling in the mood for it, I'll put a little bit of eyeliner on. As you can see, I haven't done that today. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It can be quite involved. It depends how much effort I want to put in. What products do you use, like brands, says Lily Ross? Good question. So I'm not really too fussed when it comes to brands with makeup and stuff like that. I think cheap makeup is just as good as the more expensive stuff. I do think it's one of those things where people will pay more just because it's got a certain label on it. With some exceptions, obviously there is like really, really cheap makeup. But for the most part, I don't think there's too much difference between lower end and higher end stuff. So I don't really stress too much about what brands I'm getting. Normally, if I run out of something, if I run out of foundation, for example, I'll just go online and find whatever decently priced foundation I can, and I don't really bother about getting the same exact thing every time. So yeah, I wouldn't really say I've got any specific brand that I go for above any other. That's fair. Stuff can be so expensive these days. Yeah. Oh, it definitely can. Like I say, I think as well, certain products, they are so highly priced just because they've got a certain brand on. I'm not saying that it's quite often, the cheap one and the expensive one will be pretty much the same thing. Just one of them's got a brand label on it. So yeah, I'm not really too fussed about spending money unnecessarily just to get branded stuff. Starting to get a little bit colder now. Sun's going in. That reminds me, actually. Apparently, at 6 o'clock tonight, I think it was tonight. Apparently, at 6 o'clock tonight in the UK, all 8 planets will be visible in the sky, which is pretty interesting. So Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. That's 7 planets, will all be visible at once in the night sky. That has absolutely nothing to do with anything we've been talking about. I just thought I'd mention it because I'm quite interested in space-related things. So if you're interested, have a look outside at 6 o'clock tonight and see if you can see them. I'm very jealous of your side profile, says Lily Ross. Thank you, Lily. I think this is my better side, to be honest. I don't know, because my face isn't the most symmetrical. You can actually see just on the stream that on this side my cheek sort of is a bit rounder, and it's a little bit narrower on this side, and my eyes are very wonky. Like if I deliberately have the live stream mirrored, because I'm so used to looking in a mirror and seeing my face this way around. When I look at my face like the right way round, the way that normal people see it day to day, I notice how wonky my eyes are. Like, you can probably see it on the stream. This eye is higher on my face than this eye. They are very, very asymmetrical. So I definitely would say this is my better side. This side, not so much a fan of. Okay, we're on 5:10. We're nearly 2 hours into the stream. I think what I'll do is we will keep going till past, which is another 20 minutes or so. So if anyone does have any more questions that they want to get in, please do. But I do also want to talk about my plans for... Excuse me. That's the monster. I do want to talk a little bit about my plans for next month, because that is, part of the reason that I wanted to do this stream today. So unless any more questions come up, I will just talk briefly about what you can expect to see from me in the coming month. If you follow me on any of my other platforms, then you will have already seen that I posted my March upload schedule today. So if you follow me on Blue Sky, Instagram, YouTube, Discord. Sorry, that was a Freudian slip. If you follow me on Blue Sky, YouTube, Instagram, Discord, or here on TikTok, then you will have seen my my March upload schedule. But I've got a lot of stuff planned this month. Next week, I'm going to be doing simulator games all week. It's going to be simulator week. So I'm going to be playing Euro Truck on Tuesday, OMSI on Wednesday, Farming Sim on Friday, and Train Simulator on Saturday. That's 4 live streams. 5 live streams actually, because I'm also going to be playing Oddworld Stranger's Wrath on Sunday. That's this Sunday coming, and I'm going to be playing that every Sunday this month until the game is finished, because it's a fantastic game and I really want to get through it with you guys. I've got lots of other streams planned next month. Obviously, I'm going to be playing all the usual games. Factorio on Thursdays. The only game I'm not going to be playing next month is Minecraft. I'm taking a little bit of a break from Minecraft, just you know, to give me time to focus on other stuff. But then Minecraft will be coming back in April, so it won't be gone for too long. Lee Herity says, can we see a fit reveal, please? There's not really much to see. This is pretty much what you see is what you get. I've got a black sort of sporty top and blue shorts. And that's pretty much the whole thing. Yeah, not really too much to see there. It's been a hot day today, so I just wanted to put something on that was, you know, comfortable for the hot weather. So I haven't made too much effort in the outfit department today. PTBB says, what are you having for tea? I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. We'll see. Like I say, it is still quite warm, so maybe something a little bit more cool. Maybe just some burgers or something like that. I don't really fancy. You don't really fancy a big meal on a day like this. You know what I mean? When it's a hot day, you don't really fancy a big dinner. You just want something light, something more snacky. So I'll see what I got in. Victor says, have you ever played Outer Wilds? I haven't played Outer Wilds, Vic, no. I am familiar with it, and it does look like a good game. But I've just never gotten round to it. Maybe one day. Maybe I'll stream it one day. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I've never actually played it. Going back, though, to what I was saying just a minute ago about the live streams. So apart from the gaming live streams, I am going to do another live stream like this at the end of the month. I want to make this a regular thing, where on the last day of the month, I do a face-to-face stream like this. So there will be another stream like this on the 31st of March, and also on the 29th of March, which is the last Saturday of the month. I am going to be doing an evening with Saul. If you are a regular viewer of mine, you may recall that back in October, I did like an evening live stream where I played a few cozy games. I played Tiny Glade, Dorfromantik, and Minami Lane. I'm going to do another stream like that this month as well, so we got that coming up. And that's pretty much it in terms of live streams. In terms of videos, I have 2 piano videos coming up this month. And if you want to see any of my piano videos, please do follow and check out my my content here on TikTok. I just posted a piano video the other day from Wallace and Gromit, A Grand Day Out. Big fan of that one. It's one that I've been wanting to do for a while. So please do check that out. Please give the piano covers some love, and there will be, like I say, 2 more piano videos coming this month. I'm also going to be doing a video on why I make videos. I get asked a lot why I make videos on TikTok, why I do what I do on TikTok. So I thought it'd be interesting to make a video about that, to make a video talking about why I make videos. So that's going to be coming out this month. And I'm also going to be doing another Lego tour video this month, because it's been a long time since I did the second part, and since then I've gotten quite a few new bits of Lego. You can see behind me there, we've got the Lego insect collection up on the individual shelves there. We got all the other Lego on the big shelf over there. I've got a little bird down here. That's new. I got that for Christmas from my sister. And then over here, we got some Lego on the wall as well. So yeah, quite a lot of new Lego since the last video, so I am going to be doing a video about that coming up this month as well. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much everything that I've got planned for this month, about that coming up this month as well. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much everything that I've got planned for this month. Obviously, it is all subject to change. It all depends on, if I can get the videos made in time and stuff like that. If I miss the occasional live stream, I apologise in advance. But I do want to try to stick to the schedule this month, because in February, I didn't stick to the schedule at all. The February schedule was completely abandoned, and I really do want to try and stick to the schedule and keep the regularity of the uploads this month. So, yeah, hopefully it's going to be a good month. Okay, I am going to bring it to a close soon because it is starting to get darker, and as you can see, the darker it gets, the lower the video quality becomes. So, any other questions? If anyone wants to ask me any last bits and pieces before we round things up, then please feel free. Again, I'm here to be an open book. You can ask me questions on absolutely anything. It can be about my transition, it can be about my hobbies and interests, just the state of the world. Ask me anything you like and I'll do my best to answer to the best of my ability. But if there are no more questions, then we'll wrap things up. Actually, I do wonder if I might be able to show you Luna before we go. If you want to see Luna, let me just go and check and make sure she actually is out and about. And if she is, and you want to see her, then I might be able to show you to her. Give me just a second. Okay, she is on the move. If you want to see her, let me know. If you want to see my pet jumping spider, Luna, type Luna in the chat, and I can take you over there and show you to her. Because she won't be out for long. That's the thing. She comes out very sparingly. She stays in her hide quite a lot, and then she'll come out for about 5 minutes and then go straight back in again. But if you want to see her, okay, I think people want to see her. If you don't want to see her, if you're not a big fan of spiders, then I would advise you to leave the stream now. Thank you very much for joining. But yeah, if it's not your cup of tea, that's absolutely fair enough. But there will be a spider appearing on screen in just a moment. Okay, let's go. Okay, there she is. Let's open her up. Oh, she is moving. So I don't know if she'll come out. Probably not. Hold on. There she is. So she's not very big. She's about the size of my thumbnail, as you can see, but even smaller, really. Let me just pop the camera here. I'll see if I can entice her out. I don't want to disturb her, obviously. What I normally do is I just sort of blow into the enclosure just a little bit. There we go. And that stirs her up just a bit. Hello, darling. If you really want to see her up close, by the way, check out my video that I made quite recently. I did make a video about Luna in, I think, November, where you can see her a lot more clearly. I don't think we're going to get much closer than this today. But by all means, if you want to see Luna, if you want to see what she actually looks like, then check out my video on her. She is peeking out. I don't know how clearly it's coming across on the live, but she is actually looking at the camera right now. Let's see if we can get behind. There we go. There we go. You can see the red on her now. So that's her backside. But there she is. What does she eat, says PTBB? She eats mealworms. This may be a little bit gross. If you don't want to see the mealworms, look away now, because I'm about to get them out and show you. Here we go. There they are. Lovely, juicy mealworms. So that's what she eats. Normally, like once a week. Not too often. They are quite big for her, so she'll normally just eat one a week, and that'll keep her filled for a few days. But yeah, I don't think she's going to properly come out, so I think we'll just have to leave her to it. But again, if you want to properly see her, if you want to see what she actually looks like, then check out my video about her, where I actually get her out and handle her. But today, I don't think she's going to properly come out, unfortunately. What kind of spider is that, says Dennis Watts. She is a Phidippus ardens, which is... If you're familiar with spiders, it's very closely related to the Phidippus johnsoni, the North American jumping spider. Very, very common jumping spider in North America. It's sort of black all over with a red stripe on the abdomen. The males have one big red blob on the abdomen. The females have two red stripes. Sorry, 1 second. In English, says Crimson Shadow, they don't really have an English name, to be honest. I've heard them called the widow jumping spider because they do look a little bit like black widows, but because they're quite a small sort of subspecies, they're not like as common as the North American jumping spider, the Phidippus johnsoni. They don't really have a common name. People just call them Phidippus ardens or P. ardens, which of course is their Latin name. But they're very cool, very, very cute jumping spiders. This is Luna, by the way, is the first spider of this species that I've kept. Previously, I've kept Hylas diardi, the eyelash jumping spider, which is the largest species of jumping spider in the world. And I've also kept Phidippus regius, the regal jumping spider, which is a very, very common jumping spider that people keep as pets. But yeah, this Luna is my first Phidippus ardens. That's Cap, says Crimson Shadow X. Not sure what you think. What am I lying about? What do you think I'm lying about here? Biggest jumping spider breed in the world wouldn't fit in that box. The biggest breed of jumping spider in the world is the Hylas diardi, the eyelash jumping spider. It is about the size of my thumb. I have kept one before, and in fact, if you check out my video about Luna, there is a photograph of my H. diardi in that video, so you can see how big they are. Jumping spiders do not get big. The biggest species of jumping spider in the world is only about that big. They're very tiny. There are bigger ones. I'm afraid you are mistaken, Crimson Shadow X. There are no bigger jumping spiders than the H. diardi. There are bigger spiders, but there aren't bigger jumping spiders. Jumping spiders are a very specific family of spiders. What's for tea, says Gemma Louise. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. It's whatever we got in the fridge. Whatever I can be bothered to cook. Probably nothing too intensive because it's quite hot today and I just want something something light. Okay, we're coming up to past. I think another 5 minutes and we'll call it a day. Hold on. 1 second. Sorry, I thought she was going to come out, but she's still not going to come out today. So, and I'm not going to try and force her. We'll leave her to it. She has been a lot more active, actually, I have to say, since putting her in the new enclosure. Again, if you watch the video, when I first got her, the enclosure had a lot less stuff in it. And she didn't really come out very much, and I think it was just because she didn't really have enough enrichment. But since I've redecorated the enclosure and since I've put in the fake plants and stuff like that, she's been a lot more active. She comes out pretty much every day now. She will, like I say, she will dwell in her nest now and then. Sometimes she'll just go into a web and just stay there all day. But she is a lot more active now that I've redecorated the enclosure. Do you live abroad, says Gemma? Abroad to where? I live in the UK, but I was born in the UK, so no. Never ever do I want to see you again, Jesus Christ. I mean, I don't really want to see Jesus Christ again either, to be honest with you. Oh, just because you said it's really warm today. Oh, when I say it's really warm, I mean comparatively, because it's been raining for like the last couple of weeks. But just today, like the last couple of days, it's been warmer than usual. That was very unfunny. I thought you never wanted to see me again. Like, you would think that if you didn't want to see me again, you'd carry on scrolling, right? So obviously you do want to see me a little bit, because you've stayed and left another comment. Live Happy 2015 says, did you see Jesus the first time then? Oh, well, you've got me there. You've got me there. No, I haven't actually ever seen Jesus, to be honest. Not in real life, not in a tea towel or, I don't know, a water stain in my bathroom or anything like that. I've never seen Jesus. Noah says, do not ever disrespect Christ like that. What's he going to do? He's dead and not real. But if he was real, he'd be dead. So, Melody says, I like your wig. It's not a wig, Melody, thank you very much, but this is my real hair. As you can see, I'm pulling it there and it's not coming off. This is my real hair, which I've been growing for about 4 years, and I'm very proud of it. Noah says, you're dead and he's not. I mean, is he here right now? Nope, I am. How old even are you? I'm 25, and also, I thought you didn't want to see me again. But you're still here. Like, it's been over 5 minutes since you said you didn't want to see me again, and you're still here watching the live stream. Although I have to admit, the live stream is going to end in a minute because we've been going for nearly 2.5 hours, and I think we've reached a natural stopping point. You know, I've answered most of the questions that I want to answer. I've talked about what I want to talk about. So if there are any final questions, please do get them in now, because if not, we are going to start to wrap things up in a moment. Gemma says, I've enjoyed it. Thank you. Thank you very much, Gemma. Glad that you enjoyed it. So if you have enjoyed it, by the way, please do consider following me. I do stream very often. Normally they're not streams like this. I normally do gaming streams on my PC, which, you know, feel free to join me for those. But I will be doing more streams like this as well in future. But my next live stream is going to be on Sunday, where I'm going to be starting Oddworld Stranger's Wrath. You may recall, if you've followed me for a while, that I played Abe's Exodus at the end of last year. And this year I'm planning on playing every game in the Oddworld series, starting with Stranger's Wrath. So if you want to see me play Oddworld Stranger's Wrath, join me for that on Sunday. In terms of the PC price video, it's coming. It's coming. I don't know when it's going to be ready, but I'm trying. And hopefully it will be here in the next few days. Crimson Shadow says, all you do is drive a truck. Not true, Crimson Shadow. I sometimes drive tractors and trains as well. And buses, actually. I play Bus Simulator too. But yeah, that's... I feel sorry for your dad, says Noah. Don't. He's very proud of me. I think that's probably where we're going to end it for today, though. Like I said, we've done... We've done pretty much everything that I wanted to do today. I've answered all the questions that people have asked, and I've talked about my plans for the next month. So I think we're going to start to wrap things up now. Says planes on top. I'm not really into planes. Sorry, I've never really been a plane person. If you do like planes, then fair enough. But for me personally, it's trains on top. I'm a big fan of trains. In fact, that there on the bottom shelf is a model railway because, yeah, I do that sort of thing. So yeah, it's trains for me. Okay, it looks like we're just getting invaded by people calling me bloke again. It doesn't look like there's going to be any more genuine questions, and since we have been streaming for 2.5 hours already, I think that's probably a good place to end it. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining me today. If you have enjoyed, please do follow, and if you'd like to support me financially, please consider checking out my Patreon, like these fine people. Thank you very much to... Oh, it's mirrored, so you can't actually see the names. But the names are Kate, Sophie, Jess, and Daniel. Thank you very much for supporting me over there. It costs £1 a month, and you get access to behind-the-scenes content, so please do consider checking that out. But apart from that, I think we're going to leave it there for today. So thank you all so very much for joining. I'm going to end the stream now. Thank you everyone for calling me bloke. That's not why I'm ending the stream, by the way. I'm ending the stream because I've been streaming for 2.5 hours. But thank you anyway. Crimson Shadow says, nobody wasting money. Well, these 4 fine people, as I've just said, are paid members of my Patreon. So yes, at least 4 people are wasting money. And if you also want to waste money, then please do support me over there. But that's all for today. I'm going to go. Thank you very, very much. I've had a wonderful time. It's been great answering your questions. As always, the trolls have been on top form, although maybe, you know, try to get something more original than just calling me bloke. It's getting kind of old. Thank you very much, and I will see you all on Sunday for Oddworld Stranger's Wrath. Bye-bye, everybody.